Big shout out to him. Whoo! Make sure you guys follow his channel at Engraven Vids and to follow him on all social media platforms. Um, let's go to South Carolina. Let's go to South Carolina real quick. We'll go back to the NFL because I do want to talk about the Stephon Diggs trade. But let's talk about South Carolina. They complete the 38-0 season. They dominate. They take out Iowa and Caitlin Clark, send her to the WNBA, and Cravante is no surprise. They got it done. I mean, they trailed by double digits, but then end up winning by double digits. They have literally two starting fives on their team. The depth and their ability to shoot from the perimeter, and Caruso inside, of Curacao inside, and she's just dominant. What did you think about the South Carolina run and Dawn Staley third national championship?
Well, you said it. Dominance. Dawn Staley, and I said this yesterday, Hall of Fame player, Hall of Fame coach. There's not many of athletes that are both. Um, deserves every bit of flowers she absolutely deserves right now, because her team, everybody's from the 2022 with the last time they won a championship, 2022, just about everybody's gone. And she's had a full slate of freshmen, and my gosh, she's coaching them girls up. It's at least three, maybe four freshmen that had legit hands in the dominance of South Carolina Gamecocks. First of all, number one in defense, pretty much the entire year, defensive efficiency. So number one defense versus the number one offense. And again, the number one defense prevails. One, we talked about dominance. They're big, straight up. If you, the really only way to beat South Carolina, you got to shoot the lights out. You have to shoot the lights out, because if it's coming off, the young lady, Cardoza, what's her name?
Cardoso, yeah, Camila Cardoso. Yeah,
My
I messed up
gosh,
the name earlier.
she had about 20 rebounds.
15,
20,
17, 3 blocks.
15 and 17. My gosh. And they're just too little. The Iowa couldn't box her out, really couldn't put a body on her. So the only way for Iowa to win that game is to how they started, how Caitlin Clark started. They would have had to sustain that the whole game, which is unrealistic, because Dawn Staley, coaching the number one defensive team in all of college basketball, they're going to adjust. She put that freshman, over on Caitlin Clark, and
Raven
she had
Johnson.
18 points. Miss Johnson, yes, it was two Johnsons over there, because Tessa was the other one, but she was killing it on the offensive side of the offensive side of the ball. But the other Johnson, Caitlin Clark had 18 in the first quarter, 12 the rest of the game. And this is the most prolific shooter in women's college basketball, or in college basketball. And for her to start off so hot and just get ice cold, amazing. Amazing in-game adjustment by Dawn Staley. Something LSU should have caught on a little bit quicker when they play Iowa. But like I said, on the inside, there was no way to beat South Carolina. South Carolina is bigger, longer, and more dominant on the inside. The only the only thing Iowa had over South Carolina was that they got the girl. They got the girl that can shoot the lights out. But they really only had one girl. They really truthfully only had one girl. And they had others, but Caitlin Clark was the girl. We know Iowa goes as Caitlin Clark goes. And once Caitlin Clark got cold, it was it was like, are the other girls gonna be able to sustain and keep up with South Carolina? And obviously the answer was no. Dawn Staley had a rotation of about 9 girls. 9 girls who legit all had a hand in um, the South Carolina Gamecocks winning this game 9. How many? It's NBA coaches that don't have a 9-man rotation. You know what I'm saying? And Dawn Staley is getting the absolute most out of every young lady in that rotation. So that's one. So that's doing a couple things. One, everybody's getting experience because most of them is freshmen, so they'll be here next year. So they're getting valuable experience. Um, and they're staying fresh with 9 girls in rotation. Nobody's really nobody's pushing it to the limits as far as minutes is concerned. Now, Caitlin, now on the Iowa side, I don't think they had 9 women in rotation. I'm just saying. So eventually, Caitlin Clark having all these amazing games back to back to back. Eventually, she was gonna run out of gas. Eventually, but South Carolina, when in doubt, they big, and Cardoza proved it. Shout out to the Johnson girls. Shout out to Pow Pow, who has an amazing last name, Pow Pow. You know what I'm saying? And they just they were way more balanced than they were last year. Way more
Mm-hmm.
balanced as far as the way that they can score. They got girls that can shoot from the outside, and of course they got Cardozo on the inside, so they can kill you inside and out, but for damn sure on the inside. And Iowa just really ain't have nothing for them if the shots weren't falling.
Raj, Caitlin Clark, they got rid of her. She's done. She'll be the number one pick for the Indiana Fever. She had 30. Cardoso projected to go fourth in the WNBA draft in 2 weeks, by the way. How you feeling, man? South Carolina finished their story.
Well, I caught some of the game. I didn't catch most of it. I mean, Cravante said about full, so I'm not going to really go too far into it. But I will say, Caitlin Clark brought a lot of attention to women's college basketball, and she deserves her flowers for it. Although she took the L yesterday, she deserves her flowers. Dawn Staley is a hell of a coach, great coach. Will go down as one of the best women's coaches of all time. 38-0 is crazy. I mean, they literally went undefeated. So, I mean, shout out to them, winning the national championship. But I just want to know where is women's college basketball going to go at once Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark are gone this season. We shall see going into next season. Hopefully, there's some more superstars that come out of it because
Juju, let's go. With
Juju
the
is up. Paige
with
Becker's
the
up. I think is still going to be there as well. Let's see what happens, man. This was a very exciting college basketball tournament for the women's, man. I mean, it was really exciting. So hopefully, I wish Caitlin Clark, a lot of luck in the WNBA when she's picked number 1 for the Indiana. And hopefully, she brings that same attention that she brought to college to the pros. Hopefully, but we shall see, man. We shall see. But again, congratulations to South Carolina for winning the women's national championship, and we shall see what happens from there on.
Well, let's get to the men's game, Cravante. You alluded to it. UConn goes back to back, cover every game. They win, beat Purdue 75-60. Zach Edey, man, I don't know why people don't like him. I don't know who picking number 1 in the draft. I might take Zach Edey, 37-10. I mean, he's just dominant. You can't really do nothing with him, even if they double team. You gotta pass it to him. But UConn, they hit you in so many ways. Newton with 20, Castle with 15, Klingon with 11, Spencer with 11. Bench, but they had 9 off the bench was Diarra. I mean, they had hit you from everywhere. They only lost 3 games this year, so that's damn near like going undefeated in today's game, Cravante. But UConn, man, uh, Dan Hurley, hell of a coach. And real quick, we saw your boy Tyler Perry. I want to get your thoughts on that. Go from Kentucky to Arkansas in the middle of the night. Your thoughts on that? And I mean, look at UConn, man. They may try to three-peat like the Chiefs.
Sure. And so UConn again, like we was talking about South Carolina, like I was saying, dominance. UConn reminds me of the Golden State Warriors with how they come out after halftime and completely just blitz and destroy teams. Because if you look at their last couple games leading into the title game, at halftime it was close. All the games at halftime it was close, but somehow, some way, they win by double digits. They covered every single game, and they weren't favored by a little bit. They were favored by double digits. They were favored by 8.5, 7.5, all types of different spreads. And Raj and Byron,
Mm-hmm.
those aren't easy points to cover. Pros, college basketball, those are not easy points to cover because so many things happen throughout a game. And then, at the end of games, it can get kind of wacky, with the fouling and, teams falling back, giving up points. So it's really hard to cover all the points that they ultimately covered. But it was the pure dominance in the second half, in the second halves for UConn, which is why they are back-to-back champions. And I think, and I talk about the NIL, the transfer portal, and all that, and the negative impact of college sports, but I don't think UConn really cares too much about the NIL. I feel like it's really about basketball. There's no big egos over there, and it's all about basketball and it's all about winning. And that says a lot with all the money that's being thrown around and all the young men that's jumping in and out of the portals trying to get to another spot to make more money. And UConn is just running it up at this point. So UConn winning is UConn winning is good for men's college basketball because it's still somewhere that deep down it's still about basketball. And I think UConn winning proves that.
Shout out
Um
to Bigger Edge. I know he's in the chat. UConn.
and You said they download information. Oh, man, my man Davis. What up, man? Um, yeah, but that second half, they are absolutely amazing. Like, if you were to take them, if you were to take all the games, UConn at halftime, you probably would have lost most of them. But you take them for the full game, you'd have covered all of them, which is absolutely crazy. But yes, they do amazing in the second halves. But Calipari, um, I think the loss to Oakland sealed his not say sealed his fate because in college basketball you have more control of where you go and how you move. But I'm not surprised that he's gone. I'm not surprised that he's gone. Um, Arkansas, that's probably more so surprising. But if I'm not mistaken, Arkansas is in the SEC still. So typically, coaches in the SEC stay in the SEC unless they get a professional professional opportunity. Because the SEC, I guess basketball, football, I guess it doesn't matter. SEC is the SEC, and that's really where the that's where the money bag is, and that's where the coaching bag is. Hey, yep, that's where the bag is. And Arkansas is absolutely safe. Oh, yep, Mark Davis. There you go. Arkansas is absolutely a safe, very very much safe. It's nothing like Kentucky. Kentucky is a blue blood that there's a high expectation for Kentucky, and I felt like Calipari was no longer reaching those high expectations. Like I said before, the loss to Oakland, that's not supposed to happen to a blue blood. Now, every now and then, like when Duke lost in the first round, Kentucky loses. Like those things happen, upsets happen, but Kentucky hasn't been relevant on the basketball side of the game in quite some time, and that's not the standard. That's not the expectation for Kentucky. So him leaving was about right. Going to Arkansas, didn't see that coming, but it absolutely is a safe a safe landing spot, and he gets to build it and make it into um an established turn it into an established program that and raise their expectations. But Calipari, I'm not surprised that he's no longer coaching Kentucky.
Raj, thoughts on UConn and Coach Calipari? Wish Maryland would have did that.
Well, I'm just gonna say this: congrats to UConn for winning another national championship back to back. Great program. They've been doing that thing for a good minute. Glad they're finally, getting the recognition that they deserve because they've been a really good program for years. Purdue didn't expect them to make it to the Final Four, let alone the championship game, but they showed a lot of class, a lot of heart, and they tried, but UConn was just too much for them. As far as Calipari is concerned, I think it was time for him to make a change. He was done at Kentucky. We all seen that. I mean, the last championship they got was with Anthony Davis, and Anthony Davis is damn near close to being at the end of his career. I mean, he's like what 31, about to be 31 soon. So yeah, it was time for Calipari to make a change, get a fresh start. You know what I'm saying? Get a team like Arkansas, maybe to the I go say to the Final Four, but just getting to the tournament in general. And not too many high expectations. Start off low, maybe end up high in the
You
future.
see, Byron. You see, I did that there. Start low and high, baby.
Yeah, start low and high, but we'll see how it goes. I wish him the best. He's still a champion, but sometimes you just need a fresh start, and this is a fresh start for him. And I'm pretty sure they're paying him a nice chunk of change. In Arkansas.
Well, let us know in the comment section what you think about UConn, what you think about the South Carolina women. And before we get to Raj's recount of WrestleMania 40, Houston Texans trade for Stephon Diggs real quick, guys. I just wanted to get your thoughts on it, Raj. I'll start with you. CJ Stroud,